Hello, my name is Sarai Resendez, and today I'll be sharing with you all two different strategies for this assignment. The strategies that I have been assigned are attributes charting and visual scaffolding. So first, let's get started with attribute charting. Attribute charting is a method that can help us teach ESL students and ELL students more effectively by providing an opportunity to sort, visualize, organized information, as well as also use to compare and contrast different visuals into correct categories that provide an even more detailed accessory within an activity or a lesson. This strategy illustrates to ELL learners a better understanding of the main attributes or even characteristics within a topic. And in this case that I'm going to be sharing with you all, my activity are animals. So the subject I have chosen to emphasize and demonstrate more on attribute charting is related towards the content area of science and reading, but this strategy can always be implemented within any other areas, any other content areas, rather than being different subjects as well. So for the activity that I have chosen to share with you all today is, as a teacher, choosing a leveled text nonfiction book or a small passage that really demonstrates how animals live in different habitats. So upon this text, nonfiction, of course, being selected by the teacher, students will be able to pick out and choose the different animals within that text and attribute them in a chart. With this, the step-by-step process that we will follow is first to choose a concept, to use a chart and implement a chart, which in this case will be the animals. And by determining that concept that we will be teaching, we'll be able to lend ourselves towards charting those different attributes or characteristics. Within that, as a whole group or even a small group, we'll be able to identify those different characteristics or attributes within those animals to allow us to chart them correctly. So this can be done either whole group or small group, or even as the teacher separating the class into groups. With that, we discussing those traits, we go on to implement that second step in attribute charting. The students discuss making it more effective, as well as being able to move on towards the next step, which is exploring the materials. And by exploring the materials, we can engage the students to be more involved within that certain topic. And for my portion of engaging the students by exploring their materials would be to use a chart that students can also cut and paste animals onto that chart. So it's more interactive for them to be able to see what they are, how their traits are being charted and categorized. So with that, exploring their materials, they're actually also using their charted material, cutting out and pasting onto that chart, and it really gets all those aspects of the whole strategy of attributing charting. Within that, there's another step that incorporates technology. So for this activity that I have chosen over science and reading about different animals, in order to incorporate technology, we would be able to use computers or iPads, whatever resources your school offers, to research those different animals. Although this should be incorporated afterwards for those students who still seem to have difficulties in identifying the different attributes between the animals and their habitats. Therefore, using these different resources for us, we are incorporating technology, and we are making sure that those students who are still struggling get the required resources to use for this activity and are still cooperating and learning effectively with the strategy attributing charting. So with that said and done, my second strategy that I'll be sharing with you all today is visual scaffolding. And in visual scaffolding, the purpose of this is to provide a deeper understanding within the instruction by displaying drawings or even photographs for students to hear English words, connect them to the visual images being displayed. So in simpler terms, this is having a picture and having basically like a caption or subtitle that explains that picture. So student can connect the words to the image and place them together. For the activity that I have decided to share and implement the strategy visual scaffolding, I chose in the content area of social studies or even history, because as attribute charting, this can also be used in all content areas for all grade levels. So for this activity, this activity would be completed after covering a unit of our American colonists, the Revolution, and the history of our nation. In this activity, students will be expected to identify different symbols that represent America and create their own anchor chart at the end. So it's important to have that goal so the students know what they were doing and that can be implemented within their objectives. And within that anchor chart, the students will be having pictures and labeling those pictures. Again, connecting that purpose of visual scaffolding to the activity that they are doing. Within this activity, we're following that step by step again for visual scaffolding. So first is to identify the vocabulary, and with this activity, we are identifying what symbolism is and what symbols are and what symbols will be used and can be used for America. So as a whole group, or again small group, or even in groups individually, we will be able to identify those vocabulary terms. And this can also be implemented at the as a review to the start of a lesson in a PowerPoint and such. So as a teacher, we'll be able to find those different visual symbols, whether they be a an American flag, the Statue of Liberty, a bald eagle, Mount Rushmore, and different American symbols that mean and value a lot to us now. So as a teacher, be able to find those different visuals to show our students we're scaffolding their learning by connecting the content to the words that connect also towards the American symbols. These pictures gathered by us teachers can be displayed and presented to class in a variety of forms. Like I said previously, in a PowerPoint, printed out and displayed in the classrooms would be a great visual, by also placing captions or the definition or just a brief summary of what the picture is, and so that way the students be able again to connect those terms to those pictures, the whole point of visual scaffolding. These visuals provided will allow students to scaffold their understanding and get a better grasp of the content being learned in order to achieve their goal at the end of the lesson or even activity. With this, I hope you all have had a better understanding of what these two attributes, what these two strategies can be used in all content areas for all subjects. Thank you.